Welcome to Brain Health Besties, a human-forward podcast for those of us who want to feel better but don't know where to start. I'm Bailey, a licensed professional counselor.
And I'm Nia, a qualified mental health professional.
And I'm Shelby, a human.
We are so glad you're here. And we believe that you deserve to know how your brain works and how to nurture it, even when self-care feels a little challenging.
We focus on kindness to ourselves and recognizing our own needs with as little guilt as possible, because your brain deserves a bestie.
Stars in my eyes, I can't see which way is right, but oh, if there's one thing that I know, it's only up front.
Hey besties, the practices we talk about here are great for your brain, but this podcast isn't treatment. If you're feeling overwhelmed, please call or text 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Help is always available.
Hey besties, welcome back to a Learning Together episode. Today is Falling into Your Senses, Regulation for Real Life. The seasons are changing and everything feels like it's shifting. It's the perfect time to tune into your senses and know that you don't have to have a ton of time or expensive tools to help regulate.
I love this one because I think when I'm thinking of senses and fall, it makes me think about like just being cozy, like warm sweaters and flannels and maybe even like warm coffees and things like that. So this is going to be exciting. But first, let's do our regular check-in.
Yep.
We always love to be able to check in with ourselves. So on our scale of 0 to 5, one that we normally do, how are you all feeling today?
I think I'm probably at a 1 or a 1.5. I've come down a little bit since our first episode that we recorded today, but still maybe a little higher than usual.
Yeah, I put myself about a 1. Feeling okay, kind of goofy. I love that, so I'm here for it.
I think I'm going with 1, too. We've had lots of laughs, so I think that brought my number down a little bit, too. So,
Ooh, that's a whole nother podcast episode. We'll come back to laughter in our brains and how that's good for us
We need
later.
to.
And
Me too.
besties, be on the lookout for the outtakes because
You got a little goofy in here, and that's fine. So today, with this idea of falling into our senses, and similar, Nia, I'm really looking forward to this because I love fall, and also it is such a good resource for me personally when we're talking about comfort and coziness and kind of curating those moments for ourselves. And if friends and besties have listened before, episode 9, we talked a lot about feeling overload in our brains, kind of meeting that space of saturation. And in that episode, we talked about the automatic nervous system and those two parts, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So if people want some more information and background on that, they can go check that out. But really what utilizing our senses do to help us regulate is activating that parasympathetic nervous system, that space that rest and digest, that calm, ease, and intentionally curating moments of that, which is really what we're hoping to help provide for people today and personally engage with today too. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're headed. And we wanted to dive into some different kinds of grounding activities because the one that in episode 10, we did a grounding activity. There are lots of different ways to practice. So we as a group and a team really want to put as many things out there as possible so that folks can find what works for them. Yeah. Because maybe one grounding exercise doesn't work, but maybe using our senses does. And so when we try on different things, we can keep what fits, leave what doesn't, and utilize different practices to help care for our brains. So that's really the hope today.
Yeah. Before we jump in, though, I have a controversial opinion question for you. Are you pumpkin people or apple people during the fall?
Please wait, clarify.
I know.
Pumpkin as in and apples as in the fruit, or are we talking about?
You get no further information.
I mean, because if you
Pumpkins
said
or
the word
apples?
pumpkin spice, I think it starts to light up a little bit.
Yeah, that's where it gets controversial. I mean, pumpkin or an apple, I'm kind of like, man, okay.
Although no pumpkin for me.
Oh, you're not a pumpkin
No,
fan. Okay.
no pumpkin. And that's no pumpkin spice either.
Oh. See, okay, so here's where I land. I prefer like the apple-y spice flavors, pies, drinks, all of that. I do like one good pumpkin spice latte when it is time, when it is that fall time. It's kind of like that welcome to the season, but after that, it's no longer that magical. What about you, Shelb?
Neither. I know. I'm a vanilla cinnamon kind of human.
Love vanilla.
Those are my fave. But I think that's a great segue into something that we talk about as we're shifting into fall is those kind of human indicators that we've always had shifting into fall and change. We live in Springfield, Missouri, in Southwest Missouri, where fall is sometimes a breath. We can finally take a breath after the heat and the humidity of the summer, and the leaves are changing, and we do get an actual fall sometimes. Sometimes we get a couple days of it. And you don't have to have actual changing seasons to use the sensory aspects of fall to help bring some coziness and to help ground yourself, right? So if you're in a place that doesn't get changing seasons, there are still indicators of fall coming. We're back to school. Thanksgiving and Halloween are coming up. There is pumpkin spice latte everywhere. So we can still use some of those fall things to help kind of transition our brains into the new season.
Yeah, I think about, so, as a species for a long time, we've had these little indicators that we've done ceremonies and rituals and holidays and celebrations to kind of help our brains ease through change of seasons, change of pace, change of our realities. And really, when I think about it, those rituals and things are the spaces where we find those moments of comfort, and they're deeply rooted. And if we are not going through watching the leaves fall, or feeling the colder breeze, or the insects sort of slowing down and their songs not being quite as loud or robust, if we're not in a physical environment where we're getting those cues, we do have things like, okay, pumpkin spice is out. Football is starting. Kids are going back to school. All of those things that are also indicators that change is happening. And when I look at human existence, we forever have had just sort of habits or celebrations and things that help ease us through that. And they're oftentimes very, very rooted in our senses. We gather over meals. We have particular types of food that we eat at particular times of year. We wear different clothing. There's different kinds of music that plays. And so there are all these indicators that can help us use our senses to help kind of navigate that change and ease ourselves into it. And we're really talking about that regulation, right? And honestly, it is not a new thing for humans to be using that. It's been used in cultures across the world for eons. Therapy loves to kind of claim it now, and it's maybe most commonly attached to dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT, where using our senses to help regulate or distract or bring those moments of comfort. And that's kind of where we're going with all of this too.
Well, and we use them because a lot of them do come naturally. They're things that we have just been doing and maybe didn't know why we were doing them. If we talk about coffee or tea or whatever it is, but if we think about that, we're getting a lot from it. It could be even that smell, just the anticipation of what it's going to taste like, the warmth of the cup in your hand, or maybe you even use a special cup, the one that has the gummy bears on it, or the one that has the whatever else it is on it, the one that's big. Right? So all of those things we're doing because we're getting that benefit from it. Maybe even not knowing sometimes, which is pretty cool. There's probably a lot of stuff, right? With all of our senses, we're using our senses all the time. I think taste is an interesting one too, because it takes everything. Taste takes our sight, right? It takes our smell, it takes our taste buds. We're using everything for that one. So conjuring up those memories of maybe a Thanksgiving, if that's something somebody celebrates, but you might be thinking of certain foods and certain the breads maybe specifically, or those gravies and things like that. So that's really cool.
We even in our home have a change in what kinds of foods we're cooking just in the everyday. We love crockpot Sunday. There's
to my Midwest soul.
There's football going on in the background. We have something brewing in the crockpot, and it is a full sensory experience because you walk back. You've been outside. You walk into the house and you smell, and it's wonderful. But those are those little things we can be intentional about paying attention to those moments and the sensory experiences that we're having to help bring a bit of that regulation or calm.
Yeah. I'm really curious since you brought up crockpot Sundays, which I love. I'm also a crockpot human. What are some of your favorite fall sensory intakes?
For me, I like to be cozy, and then I can bring that with me. So I have a special, I guess it's a shawl, but it's t-shirt material and the softest thing you've ever like felt, and I don't use it throughout the year until it's time for fall. So even if I'm going out to hear some music or something, it's not big and bulky. It's not a coat. It's just a big wrap. So that's what I love. That's those kind of things.
Well, and my experiences are probably rooted in also non-preferences.
Which is fine. We're allowed to not like things.
It's true. It's
Very
okay
true.
if we don't like pumpkin spice or all
That's
those
right.
other things. But for
Just
me,
saying.
feeling cold is a very uncomfortable sensation. I hate feeling cold. And I know people that feel the same way about feeling hot.
Yes.
Like that feels
Sure.
intolerable.
Yeah.
You're like me. But because of that, I also I love like the big sweaters. I'm not wearing one today because it's a little bit warmer out, but I love that the big cozy sweaters. I love the boots. I love the sound, and it comes to nuance for me a lot too. I love when you go for a walk in the fall and you step on the crunchiest leaf and you have that satisfaction of hearing the crunch as you're walking. I love the crispness in the air. The air just smells different outside too when it's a little bit cooler. I really love just the feeling and all the spicy smells that sort of come this time of year, cozying up with a blanket. I'm a comfort drink person. A cup of cozy is always there for me, whether that be coffee in the morning or a big cup of tea in the afternoon. Those are kind of my happy, cozy places.
Yeah.
Great.
I love that. Mine, I also love, excuse me, the spicy smells and cinnamon and vanilla. I said that earlier. That's also my favorite candle to light as soon as the air chills a little bit. I love a very niche, very Ozarkian thing is the sound of black walnuts falling out of the trees. When the air is still and it's kind of cool and those walnuts start falling. I love the smell and the crackle of a bonfire. Very niche things like that.
Yeah. And so when I think about that, like I think about the walnuts or the bonfire, those are wonderful and beautiful. And also sometimes if we are in a distressing moment at work, or if we are needing that coziness or comfort somewhere where it's not readily accessible to be at the bonfire, to step outside and hear the walnuts, how can we integrate those things into our everyday real life so we can still harness the sensory experience and bring a bit of cozy or comfort in our day to day?
Ooh, I actually love that because that brings up another thing that sometimes, especially when we're at work or in a professional setting or we're surrounded by a ton of people, it can feel awkward or even shameful that we want or need or would like to have some kind of sensory comfort. So yeah, I would love to hear your tips and tricks and the things you do at work and in spaces that are sensory related.
Well, some of them I think of smell first. Now, of course, we have to be careful with smells if we're in a close space. But I was joking earlier, but talking about liking bonfires, and I love the smell of a bonfire, and it lingers on you sometimes too. And
In
I
your
said,
hair for
is there?
months?
I know, definitely, yeah, definitely. I said, is there a cologne, that smells like bonfire? And maybe not one that I know that smells like bonfire, but they certainly have ones that are flannelly or that are certainly more like fall scented, which would be
Cozy.
nice and cozy if you're not lighting a whole candle, but still there's scents like that. I'm sure there's lots of scents that can kind of conjure up different emotions too.
Yeah, I 100% do that. I love perfumes and I have very specific ones that like if I'm in a big meeting or I need to feel very professional, this is the perfume I wear.
Okay.
If I want to feel cozy and warm, this is the perfume I wear. And like I really do love that since that smell. It's great.
Well, and if anybody wants Shelby's power scent, send us a message and ask her what she's wearing to go walk into these meetings, because now I'm curious.
It's not a secret. I'll share. I'll share.
For me, a lot of times, so I also love bonfires. I love the crackle, the sight, something about watching fire too. The smell in the moment, although I hate the smell of stale bonfire, like in your hair, and it just seems to last forever. That bothers me. But sometimes what I will do, especially in the colder months at work, is I will put up just the video of a crackling fire on my screen. It's a nice sort of regulator. You get kind of the sounds a little bit, and it gives me some background that feels comforting and cozy, because really it can be particularly helpful when we're in distress or feeling max, or kind of it is another grounding exercise. So anytime we're in our brains and kind of in that cyclical thought pattern or feeling sensorily overwhelmed where there's just too many things coming at us at once, really harnessing and focusing into one sense at a time can help, again, just activate that parasympathetic nervous system that tells us we're safe, that we're calm, that it's okay to feel comfort and coziness.
I love that. I love that bonfire one specifically, like in the background. I can imagine that. I'm going to use that. But it's interesting too how our brains work, that as we are just looking at this one on our screen, we can still feel that actual warmth and the coziness it brings. We could conjure up the people that we usually share it with.
Yeah.
So it really can be an in-depth exercise, even though it's in the background where you're still kind of focusing on everything else you're doing. So thank you. I'm taking that. Bonfires at work.
Yeah,
on the
do it.
screen.
On the screen.
On the screen.
On the
That's
screen.
right.
Screen.
Safety first.
Safety first, definitely.
Smokey the Bear would not be happy.
I have a couple of others besides the perfumes. I think that's my go-to. That's my like first thing in the morning. Set the day when it's cooler and I need like an extra bit of comfort. Fuzzy socks in my shoes. Like nobody has to know I'm wearing fuzzy socks, but it gives me that little bit of extra comfort.
But now we all know.
And now you know. And you can also wear fuzzy socks inside of your shoes, and I won't say anything. Warm beverages. I'm not a warm beverage drinker, but I love the sensation of one. So sometimes I'll go get like a hot tea so I can hold the mug and I can have the aroma off the hot tea. And then when it's cold, I'll pour it over ice and have iced tea because I like cold beverages. And then I also have a textured sticker on my tumbler that I use at work that is like right where I place my hand to grab it, and I can just have a little bit of a sensory input any time of the day.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, those are beautiful ways to sort of integrate. I'm also thinking, so we're talking a lot about workspaces. How do you integrate this into home or social spaces? For me, oftentimes I love people, but being in huge crowds of people can feel sensory overwhelming and just kind of overstimulating. So what are some other spaces that we could bring this into that maybe we can integrate outside of work?
I think there's probably lots. I mean, I first thought, of course, at home, right? How we might all have something cozy that we'd like to cuddle up with, or maybe we'd like to kind of hunker down and read, or we have that special blanket someone made us that we kind of cozy up with. But I think, too, when you're outside, maybe it is that you have a really comfortable jacket that you always like to wear. You feel good in it, but it also kind of gives you that hug, kind of gives you that kind of taking that thing from home. I know there's a lot of people that drink coffee. I'm not one of those. But I think part of that is you make your delicious cup of coffee at home. Maybe you've got to get in that mug that you really like, but you bring it with you to work because you're bringing a bit of that comfort with you wherever you go. Yeah, right.
me.
So you get to enjoy it in both places. So we can kind of manufacture the things that we want to have with us. Just bring them along.
Yeah. Okay. So bring those bits of comfort in all the spaces where it's acceptable and where that works. I love your idea of the cardigan or the shawl too. That is kind of your safety cardigan that goes with
bonus. Spray your favorite perfume, your comforting scent on it. You have a twofer.
Double win. I love it. I'm also curious if our besties have different little hacks or things that they use. If you have special hacks or sensory things that you take with us, please share so we can expand our resource list as well and share it with others. And we'll get into a practice here in our follow-ups episode 24, where we're going to be talking about falling into our senses and how to really hone in on each sense during this change of season. We look forward to seeing you there, y'all. Take care. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to Brain Health Besties so you can find us in the future.
And since sharing is kind, share us with your besties.
If you have mental health or wellness topics you'd like us to chat about, please reach out to bewell@livebrightly.org.
Until next time, be well, besties.
Shining brighter than the sun.